Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined with Bryan Leonard and Preston the Sports Cheetah. We're going to talk baseball. First 5 inning betting. This is the equivalent of betting a first half bet in other sports, and it's gotten a lot more popular over the last few years. I know I've incorporated it more into my arsenal because it lets you take the bullpens out of the equation. And sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes you want the bullpens in the equation. We know like a few years ago, the Kansas City Royals, when they made their big run to the World Series 2 years in a row, they were a lights out bullpen. If you didn't have the lead against the Royals going to the 7th inning, you basically were done. So why make a full game wager? You're going to look for a 5-inning one. Preston, I'll start with you on this one. How do you attack 5 innings, and do you use it as part of your arsenal, or do you like the full game better?
Yeah, I do use it occasionally. I think I used to use it more often because I thought there was more of an opportunity or an edge, and I realized there wasn't much different actually for me. So ultimately the game itself or the side that you like has to have an edge statistically or numbers-wise anyways, and that would be for the full game, and in the first 5 is typically a derivative of that. And so if it's a spot like, which I don't think I backed the Rangers much at all last year, that's an example of a bullpen that I think isn't very good. If I actually like the Rangers, although I've bet against them already this year, and it's probably a team that's going to be overvalued early on in the season, but just an example, say in 3 months, you actually finally get a Rangers line that you think's short. I would definitely probably look at least splitting up my bet to maybe half of it being the Rangers' first 5 versus the full game, because I would hate to have the lead in 6 or 7 innings. And another one is the Angels yesterday. I bet had a fine lead 4-2, and it gets to they're using Bud Norris in the 7th, 8th inning. Good luck with that. He gives up 4 runs, and they're down 6-4, and luckily the A's blew the save for me. But that's another one. Now I kind of I'm going to be looking at their actual patterns because they're saving their best closer, Cam, and I don't know how to say his last name, Bedrosian. He's lights out, but he's only their saves guy. So he's not pitching unless they're up and in the 9th. And so those in-between innings are tough for Angels. So Angels, a team I like that I think is going to be undervalued, and I might back occasionally. Maybe I'll look at doing some first 5s, especially since I've talked about some of their arms that I think are going to be undervalued. So I'll use it definitely, but there needs to be an advantage or an edge there to begin with in the full game number for me to look at the first 5.
Yeah, Bryan, one of the things that may happen is why I like first 5 inning wagers is you've got to know the rotations of the bullpen. You've got your middle reliever, you've got the setup guy, and you got your closer. Well, if your premier closer has come in 3 days in a row in a save situation, he's most likely not going to be coming in that 4th game. So that changes things. So either if you're going against that team, you might want to look full game, because now what's going to end up happening is somebody's going to be put into a role that's not their normal role. The setup guy may become the closer in the game. Then it pushes one of your middle relief guys to the setup, and it changes everything. So you want to go full game. But on the same token, if you feel you have an edge with your starter, but you don't have the luxury of knowing you got your best closer going, you don't have to pass on the game. You can still make a play and go with the first 5 innings and take the bullpen out of the equation. What are some things you like to look with?
Yeah, one of the things I look at is the pitches thrown. I've got a chart that tells you the pitches thrown from each pitcher. Not only do you have to worry about a pitcher who's pitched a lot recently, you also have to worry about a pitcher who hasn't pitched in a while. So if you've got, for example, I'll just use the Indians because that's the team that I root for. Your 9th inning guy is great. Your 8th inning guy is fantastic. Your 7th inning guy, now that they got Boone Logan, is great. So all you have to worry about is get through 6 innings. Now, when you're betting the Indians, you just have to get your starting pitchers to be able to make it to that part. But if you've got a guy that throws a lot of pitches and he doesn't strike a lot of guys out, he may not make it through the 5th inning. He may have to be pulled in the 4th, and then you're getting to worry about the back end of the front end of the rotation, or front end of the bullpen, and usually your worst pitcher on the team is your long relief guy. And that if you're in a position where you think the long relief guy is going to come into the game, I usually don't want to bet on that team. But if you can get a guy that can go 6 innings, you're in good shape. And you just got to look, because some guys just barely make that 5-inning mark. Some guys go over 6 innings. If you've got like Verlander doesn't want to come out of the game. You know he's going 7 innings unless he's really blown it. And that's the problem with the Tigers bullpen over the years. They're not very good. So if Verlander's pitching, you're in good shape. But anybody else, you have to worry about them with the Tigers.
Absolutely. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate it. And don't forget, every Tuesday at Wager Talk, it's $2 Tuesday. What's $2 Tuesday? Well, we take one capper and we offer their best bet for just $2. It's a great way to introduce yourself to Wager Talk or introduce yourself to a new capper. If you took advantage of it this week, you had a nice 1-2 punch, as both Preston and myself delivered on the $2 Tuesday. We have 2 promotions on $2 Tuesday. You can get that one capper for $2, but we also give you a coupon for a second capper where you can get 60% off his play that day. Check it out each and every week at wagertalk.com. It's $2 Tuesday. Enjoy the games this week. We'll be back next week.